Good afternoon, Mr. Betts here. Happy Hump Day. Just wanted to kind of go over a couple of my picks yesterday. As we talked about yesterday, we went with the pitchers to basically win their games, right? The Phillies was a little bit of a sweat in the eighth, but we ended up getting it done. We turned $25 into 112 there. We then did a home run pick 'em where we got Ben Rice to hit a home run, Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run, and the Phillies to win. $25 paid 356 all day, baby, all day, 356. And then this one was kind of sad for me. Sad, sad, sad. I had the White Sox just upsetting the Red Sox. I feel like the White Sox are kind of, these dark horses that can really upset teams. I've noticed a lot of teams just really down on them. So I like to sprinkle them in with my other two favorite teams to watch, which is the Tigers and the Blue Jays. A lot of variance with when the Blue Jays play the Giants. Tigers, I've been a little skeptical on, but they've been doing really good pitching lately, so probably I won't do any positive spreads for them. And sad that the Dodgers lost. I was kind of shocked about that. The Rockies are a very slept on team as well. And then this one hurt me too, because if the Dodgers win, this is another $100. Okamoto, obviously big fan of Okamoto. Jung-Hoo Lee can't hit shit. And yeah, so we're gonna do another pick 'em before we start today's stream of best ball. We will do a best ball and then we will plan out a Dalmatian. If you guys want to join in on the Dalmatian with me, let me know. I'll be more than happy to stream it with you guys. We wanted to wait today till this morning to kind of do our pick'ems because what we want to look at is the temperatures, right? We want to see if it's sunny and if it's hot. Then if it's sunny and it's hot, then we want to kind of bet on the overs for a home run pick 'em. So see it's 87 and it's sunny. That might be good for a little home run like a Nick Kurtz home run. Who's the pitcher here? Let's see. Let's go to strikeouts. So Melton, yeah, I think this one will be interesting. It'll be probably between Kurtz or Lavaliers, but we'll do Nick Kurtz for the home run here, right? Because we like the temperature. We know he can go yard, and so we're gonna bet on him going yard. Da, 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 da. The Schwarber and the Ben Rice ones were 100 degrees, and that's why I like them. I wanted to pick a home run in this game yesterday. I was kind of scared off of it. Um, but it's a good temperature. Zach Nieto. I don't really bet on the Angels other than their money line stuff. I don't really do player props for them. So I'm not too familiar with, like, I know Nieto has power, but just not my favorite group of people to really bet on. Like, take Ben Rice, right? 88 against the Rays. I mean, Sonny. Who's the pitchers? Let's see who the pitchers are. Any pitchers? Garrett Cole. I think he gave up a couple home runs earlier in the year. Hurt by the long ball. Yeah, he gave up. Yeah, has served up multiple homers. So I like that, and it's hot enough. 88. Not we want it to be in the 90s. 88's fine. I like Yandy, but we're just gonna go Junior Cabanero. So these are gonna be our two home run pick'ems. And then who do we like to win straight up? I like Baltimore. Mariners are fun. Should we go safe or should we play a little bit more risky? Who's pitching here? Milwaukee. Well, honestly, the Cardinals are sneaky good too. Hmm. Who's pitching for the Dodgers today? Roki? Dude, let's do Let's do Goodman to go yard. And then let's do let's do the Rockies plus 1.5 against the Dodgers with Nick Kurtz, Junior Cabanero, and Hunter Goodman to all hit home runs. We'll do a $25 buy-in. This is how much we usually bet for all of our best ball stuff. And that's $25 to win $805. See if we can't smash another home run pick 'em. Um, and let's get into a best ball mania. Just trying to see if there's any additional contests out. Let's stick with NFL. The mini golden would kind of be cool, but not too into it. The French marathon, the Frenchy marathon. All right. Best ball mania. Nothing really catching our eye with respect to the teams. I actually pulled up. I'm probably gonna make a clip of this later for a YouTube short, but just of my boy Kyle Schwarber here, just going yard.
Two ball. Out of sorts where he is. It's just a lot for one inning. No, he doesn't swing a whole lot 3-0, but I would assume that he'd have the green light here.
The green light to swing 3-0. What do you guys think?
He does sit in deep right field. It is
Nasty.
it's in swing 3.
Nasty. Ben Rice crushes this one in the very beginning.
Out of these situations. Now Rice hits one to left field and deep. Simpson back. He's on the track.
Absolutely demolishes that. Super, super, super happy. All right, our draft is starting here. We are drafting out of the 12 hole today. Anybody we recognize in here? Not necessarily. I'm not a big fan of drafting at the end of my drafts. I have liked doing wide receiver, and then 4 running backs back to back. I think there's a lot of really good value at running back in the mid to later rounds, like your Judkins, like your Tutons, like your Scattabos that don't feel as bad, right? Like they're not gonna give you, oh my God, Rashee Rice one overall is disgusting. I mean, that is absolutely putrid. That guy just destroyed his whole team. I mean, he could have went Rashee Rice 24 and had another team. Like he just absolutely nuked his team. Um, so really weird there. Um, anyways, I feel like the wide receivers at the top are so good that it's hard to justify not just getting them all. And if the wide receiver tier falls so fast that the running backs don't feel like they're giving you as much nowadays as you could get. Like I think Gene T, Cook, Brown all have really, 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 really high upside and can give you some really good weeks. Whereas a lot of the other guys, the running backs are just flatter for me. I'm actually happy with the CD Lamb. And we're just gonna take our favorite running back here, Chase Brown. We're gonna let him get Gene T at a fall, right? Jefferson Gene T. Go ahead. We want to get more Chase Brown. I mean, I have Gene T, but I wasn't a fan of Gene T. So like last year, Best Ball Mania, I wasn't really drafting any Gene T. This year I'm drafting a lot of Love. because although Love is on a similar team with respect to Gene T being on a bad team last year, I just don't see. I think Gene T has probably a similar season that he did last year. I don't know that they take such a big step forward. Um, and I think Love has the ability to absolutely dominate. I don't know. What I've seen with Love has just been freak of nature stuff. So I love Love. I love drafting Love. I'm really curious to see what the guy in the one does. He went Rashi Rice, 1 of 1 overall. I wonder if he was gonna try to do like a Bowers. I mean, maybe this whole draft gets thrown out, right? No one else is really doing anything weird. Chase Bowers, see that. Robinson London, a little bit more rare. But everyone else looks to be drafting on par. I'm really curious to see what the Rice guy's gonna do. Is he gonna keep doing some really weird stuff, or is he gonna finally come to his senses and realize that Rice 1 of 1 was probably one of the dumbest picks he could? Jalen Warren, yeah, this one's probably getting thrown out, guys. Jalen Warren, a 90 overall pick. Rashi Rice, a 20 something overall pick. I mean, you just hope this guy's an idiot and not just trying to help out a friend or trying to get a draft thrown out. He gets love, which is, I guess, more on par with ADP. So maybe it won't get thrown out. Just really weird. I know people do this whenever they get in with some of their friends. They'll try to throw some picks, right? That way it helps their friends get a little bit more unique on the front end. I just don't know if it's so unique for the people that are drafting around the one guy, the one hole, that it's like, oh, they're really getting a big value. I mean, Chase Bowers, McBride, I think that's kind of dead on arrival. I'd really be interested to see what kind of super teams get made, or if a super team is able to be made. I'd be really curious. But nobody really, no like crazy value on guys right now. Nothing really crazy going on. Everyone kind of going at ADP, although I do feel like this one is primed to get thrown out. But we will see. Lad McConkey gets pulled up to the third round. That's interesting. I guess if you wanted to ensure that you got Lad McConkey because you didn't want to not get Lad, sure. Um, I know who I want here. Okay. So we're basically just building our favorite week 17 game stack. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Cincinnati. Week 17, we have CD Lamb and Neighbors week 17. So we feel really good week 17 if we can get there, right? We have some really good game stacks. We want to get there. If we can get there, we feel really good. Now, again, like I've preached before, we get Neighbors here. Sometimes he falls a little bit later, sometimes he doesn't. But we get Neighbors here, and I like to do Neighbors when I get 2 wide receivers early, right? And then grab Neighbors. Our next goal is just to slam running backs. We want to slam maybe 4 running backs next, and then take our quarterbacks, right? Maybe we go, I mean, we could go Burrow, running back, and then see if Dart falls to us or something like that. Or we can go Burrow, running back, Dak, running back, running back, running back, right? We want to get our RB team up. Now, we could also do more of like a hyper fragile build in the sense that, or rather a hero running back where we have Chase Brown and we just need somebody that can fill a running back points, um, that running back 2 slot, right? We're just gonna say, okay, Brown's going to be our primary guy. We're going to get one more guy who could kind of supplement what Brown does. right? Whenever Brown's on a bye. And then we're going to get like kind of these satellite running backs behind him because we just want points in that position. But what we're really going to be strong at is wide receiver, tight end, and quarterback. If we can guarantee we'll be strong at wide receiver, tight end, and quarterback, then I don't see any issue at being slightly weaker at running back, especially since a lot of the running backs go early. So it's a lot harder to get really good running backs. So when all the running backs kind of get front loaded like that, the value or the quality of running backs later on are so diminished that you're better off just constantly going for what you already have or kind of beefing up what you already have good at, which is wide receiver, tight end, or quarterback. And the reason why you want to just keep doing that is because you're going to get more value, right? The diminishing returns, right? Law of diminishing returns. You're going to get more value out of your wide receivers than you will at your running back because the diminishing returns of running back just keeps falling. Whereas the wide receivers are still pretty elevated in terms of what they'll give you because people usually don't go heavy, heavy wide receiver. Now, like me, you have seen the guy in the two and the guy in the three go a little heavier in wide receiver, and then, they have one or two running backs. So not everyone's going gung ho into this running back thing. This guy gets Lamar, this guy gets Burrow. Not big issues for us. We will be happy to get a Henderson or a Tootin. So whichever or we'll be very happy to get. Because our guy already goes, do we have to pull up? We don't have to pull up Dak. So we're just going to go ahead and shoot for a Rome Odunze. And we got, furthermore, one of our other favorite Week 17 games, which is the Bears versus the Lions, right? We have Trevion Henderson, again, a guy who can give us really good spike weeks. We get him at ADP value, 8 spots after he usually gets drafted. We get Rome at a slight value. We get Malik Neighbors at a slight value. We get T. Higgins at a value. We get CD Lamb at a value. This team should just be called value because that's all we're getting, baby. Value. And a clear tier break at running back. I think it's Rome, Parker, Parnell, Tate, and then all these other bullshit guys, Pierce, Robinson, Tyson. So I think we got a clear value. Clear value. Yeah, for the guy in the four hole to like just pull up Joe Burrow. I wonder if he's gonna go Jaden Daniels here. The guy in the three to say I want Lamar Jackson is also kind of crazy. Parker Washington, such a good pick. I think Parker Washington is gonna feed small families of two, right? Generational small family wealth of two. Parker Washington. Parker Smith and Jigba. We wanted to smash running back, but I think that it's fine that we got another wide receiver. We're going to be done at wide receiver basically here. We're going to get some value wide receivers later, but we're going to turn our focus to and kind of value tight ends. You guys already know I like Evan Ingram at the very end. Great value tight end. We're going to shoot for an Isaiah Likely around the 130s. Hopefully he falls to us at 132. Um, and we're going to try to get our quarterback at, I'm hesitant to say 85. I just don't know what this room's gonna do. I don't know if I leave a dart, if I necessarily want to leave a dart alone in a room with a lot of no badges, especially right before me, because I feel like if these guys see Jackson Dart at 106, 107, they're just gonna take him straight up. I don't know that they're gonna really care to stack or not stack him. So I think I just say I'm scared and take Dart. Now, if I take Dak at 84, I kind of wouldn't care if I took Dart or not. It would be nice to have Dart, but I think I'd be giving up a lot at running back too, which I don't necessarily want to do. I do want to get like a RJ Harvey, or I could get like a Godwin. No, we need more help at running back. So I think just getting value with an RJ Harvey and then hoping Dart falls back to us. They're just gonna get Dart. I couldn't do it. I wanted RJ Harvey, but we're just gonna get Dart. I just feel like I won't get him. I'll get locked out at quarterback. I'll then hate myself for because if we go RJ Harvey here, Golden usually goes a lot sooner, and then I can't do a Golden Love stack, and then I'm just like, God bless, like I hate myself. So I'm just gonna pull up Dart. It's pulling him up, but not necessarily. He usually goes in the 90s. If I don't get him here, it's very rare that I get him in the ninth. Now, I have had that happen. I had that happen 2 drafts ago. As you guys know, player Q was drafting in front of us. I wasn't necessarily worried player Q was going to snipe me because he's a more advanced drafter. He's not necessarily looking out to just, take the guy there. He kind of likes to think about what he's going to do beforehand. And so he's more predictable in the sense that he's going to be a more responsible drafter. Now, does that mean that if you take Jackson Dart unstacked, you're being irresponsible? No. There's arguments to be made to take Jackson Dart stacked, but a lot of these people, especially these seasoned veterans like Player Q, like all these other guys, they typically, unless you're Matic and you like to take, a naked Mahomes or Pete, who's been convinced to take a naked Mahomes all the time. I joke, of course, but unless you're taking a naked Mahomes, Jackson Dart's I think a little bit more risky than a Mahomes. Although I typically will never take a naked Mahomes. Again, if you look at his value, he gets like 3, 4 fantasy points a game off of his rushing ability, which I think will be extremely limited. So I just don't agree with his price tag. Now, with respect to Jackson Dart, he has a big exclamation point above him. And the reason why he has a big exclamation point above him is because he runs very recklessly, right? He's a very reckless runner. In fact, there was a Gruden interview with Dart where he's telling Jackson Dart, he's congratulating, oh, you ran over that DB, you really gave him, the business. And then he's like, yeah, and he's hyping him up. And he's like, but you're an idiot, right? Like you need a, you're putting your team at risk. You're putting your body at risk. What are you thinking? You need to be smarter than this. And so it's very interesting to see the dichotomy because he's not wrong, right? Like Jackson Dart's a dog. He wants to play. He's not thinking about, if I run over this guy with my right shoulder, how it's going to affect my next game. He's just trying to win. And that's the type of quarterback you want. You want that quarterback that's just trying to win. But the issue with getting that type of quarterback is they're more prone to injuries. And so if they're more prone to injuries, are they really a good value? I don't know. I don't know. It'd be hard for me to be like, yeah, this guy's a great value, even though he's gonna destroy his shoulder, right? So we get Jonathan Brooks, I think a great value here. I think we double tap uh running backs, which I kind of wouldn't be mad about, but I don't know if I don't have much J.K. Dobbins. So let's just put the bet that we might be wrong about Jonah Coleman and we'll just get J.K. Dobbins and say what if, he doesn't he maintains his role and Jonah Coleman doesn't usurp him? And then we at least have Jonathan Brooks in case, J.K. Dobbins does get usurped. We have Jonathan Brooks there, and then we have a very good solid running back room now. We can then now focus back. We'll probably double tap tight end, and then we'll start working our wide receivers. We're done at quarterback. Um, Interesting week 17 correlation here. We have Dobbins and Henderson. Week 17, obviously Giants, Dallas, and then we have Chicago. We might look to maybe get like an Isaac Tesla for our week 17 bring back with Chicago. But overall, I like the teams. Very rainbow colored bye weeks. So very good there. But let me see if I can't find that video for you guys. that I'm talking about.
You're taking off. You got the first down. What would Gruden tell you to do?
Go out of bounds, coach.
And what are you going to do?
Run his ass over.
With your right shoulder.
Yeah, that's not smart.
No, it's not smart. What about this right here? Can we get where?
Out of bounds.
You know, this is insane. You write it down, Evil Knievel. That's who you are. We're going to jump over a freaking canyon out there in Utah. Is that what you're going to do in your off season?
Yeah, can you?
This is insane.
How do you spell Knievel?
Shit. Kneviel. Knievel. Evil Knievel. I mean, you did it at USC. You haven't changed. Why haven't you changed?
Yeah, it's definitely something that when I watch back and in those moments, I definitely are like, all right, like that's not smart. It's not a smart hit to take. So that's definitely something I'm gonna get better at. But in my mind, I'm always trying to be +2 and
Plus what?
+2.
What's that?
Anytime you get hit with contact, I want to fall 2 yards forward.
Yeah, well, that's all great, but not anymore.
Yes, sir.
Make a note about quickness. There's 3 kinds of quickness that I want you to keep working on every single day. The mind. We got to get mentally quick. We got to learn something today. We got to learn something tomorrow. We got to have somebody give me more information the next day. Let me ask you this. What is some of the information that you feel like you need to get better at?
So he kind of goes through the whole interview, and they kind of continue again talking about his ability to run over people, and Dart has that +2 mentality. So Dart has that dog in him, but again, as you guys saw, he's pretty reckless with his body. And that's not necessarily something that you want in your quarterback, right? You don't want a quarterback who's extremely reckless with his body. Look at that. We got a double tap our tight ends here and just get double tight end correlation. We get Ferg and Likely on ADP value with our Malik Neighbors and our Lamb teams. So we have a triple stack Dak Dart with their wide receiver ones and their tight end ones. I have seen Rashid Shaheed fly up boards. Not surprising to me. Our next picks, maybe we continue our Dallas stacks with a little Flanore and maybe some Tesla. I wouldn't be opposed to a Denzel Boston, a Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker, wide receiver 1 over there at Las Vegas. We know that he can have 40-point games when it comes to fantasy football. He was kind of a major piece of the Raiders team last year. I don't see them necessarily giving up on Trey Tucker. I think it's interesting that Jordan Naylor goes ahead of him, who he had a significantly worse season with the Raiders, but who the fuck am I? Denzel Boston in camp was seen more as the true alpha. I think he will end up taking over the entire wide receiver room. It's interesting that Casey Concepcion goes before him, but I think if you want to take an upside swing at a wide receiver room like the Cleveland Browns, Denzel Boston's a good ADP value. Ryan Flanore, this is again just a swing at, hey, this guy might be the guy if somehow we have an A.J. Brown situation with Pickens where Pickens starts reading books on the sideline. Flanore will be the guy. And then obviously the week 17 bring back with Isaac Tesla. I don't know if we necessarily want to pull him up to 168. I don't know if we'd have the ability to get him again, though, if we don't. Yeah, we go at like 180. So if we don't get him at 168, we won't be able to get him. Are we mad? I'll look at it a little bit closer when we get closer to um our pick, whether or not, it's something that we really want to look at and do. But so far, so good on the team. I'm going to do a little bit of a recap. At quarterback, we have Dak Prescott and Jackson Dart. At running back, we have Chase Brown, Trevion Henderson, Jonathan Brooks, and J.K. Dobbins, all at ADP value for right now. Wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. Tight end, Jake Ferguson, Isaiah Likely. I say for now because, ADPs will constantly change, although I think Jonathan Brooks will only get more expensive as the season goes on. J.K. Dobbins, as we probably see Jonah Coleman taking over his role, will probably get cheaper. So probably not the best value there. But what are you going to do? We have to take Trey Tucker here. I mean, that's just screaming value for me. In terms of God, I think we take Flanore over Tesla just for the stack. I don't know how rare that's going to be, but probably not that rare, right? Lamb, Ferg, and Flanore with Dak. I don't think it's going to be super rare, but just getting that additional stack, why not? Tucker, I think, is a great pickup. We'll kind of cool the Jets at wide receiver now, right? At 6. We'll probably get one more wide receiver. We're going to get one more tight end in Evan Ingram at the end. So we're going to be looking right now for running backs. So because we're gonna get one more wide receiver, one more tight end, we're gonna probably get 2 running backs, and then turn our eyes to wide receiver, tight end, and end our draft. Which I'm fairly happy with, right? Lamb and Higgins are going to be the baseline wide receivers. They should be able to put up fairly good numbers every week. If not, you have Rome kind of mixing in there, which I think will be great. Neighbors will eventually catch on week 4, week 5, week 6. He should be a wide receiver 1. So to have 4 wide receivers who can put up wide receiver 1 numbers is quite honestly amazing. At running back, we have Brown, who will be the focal point of our running back room, who has put up top 5 running back numbers when playing with a healthy Joe Burrow. Gets a lot of goal line usage, gets a lot of targets. I mean, honestly, probably should be closer. He should be around 1 pick. So we're getting good value there. Henderson has a very good spike week potential. I mean, what he was able to do with his touches has been pretty astronomical. So I'm very happy with him. Could give us a lot of 20-point games just because he can rip off these 80, 60-yard runs. If he gets better in the pass blocking, if New England does better with their offensive line, allowing Henderson to really shine, I think it's a no-brainer. Jonathan Brooks, we're basically betting that by week 5, he's going to be the focal point of the offense and take over that backfield completely. I don't see that not being the case. I mean, if we think about it logically, right, you have Chuba Hubbard who lost his job to Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard were a two-headed horse that was doing fairly okay. But then they were like, hey, we're just going to get rid of Rico because we know we have Jonathan Brooks. There's no reason for them to keep 3. And then J.K. Dobbins is just, hey, what if Jonah Coleman doesn't take over the backfield completely? What if Dobbins stays on a little bit longer than a lot of people expect? We'll just stay with J.K. Dobbins. Here, we'd like to get more satellite backy, right? What I mean by that, I would not be mad at getting a little bit more of the satellite running backs. Why not Sean Tucker? I think that's a little bit too rich for where we're at. Maybe like I would like a Brian Robinson and a Dylan Sampson. They both have week 11 buys, but Dylan Sampson will be giving us points on a week to week basis. Brian Robinson could get some goal line stuff, kind of like what Algier was getting last year. So we're just going to get him. And so I'm now a lot more happy with our running back room. Even though we have a lot of week 11 bye issues, right? I'm not too worried because by week 11 we'll have more clarity on whether Jonathan Brooks is taking over that backfield completely, and hopefully it'll be Brooks and Chase Brown that will give us some fantasy production week 11. But hopefully these guys, in a nutshell, will be able to give us everything we need, and then we're good. We're good. And then we'll get one more wide receiver, one more tight end, and it will likely be I'm probably gonna go Slayton, Ingram. Slayton just to add the wide receiver 2, 3 for the Giants. I think because he was dealing with issues and injuries last season, I think that was what was really holding him down. I don't think it was necessarily his what he could or couldn't do at wide receiver. I think it was just more injury based. So I'm willing to give him an injury pass. I think he is going to be a little slept on in BBM other than Liam. Liam did make a good point with respect to he's just wide receiver two there, unless we think that the rookie wide receiver that they just drafted can kind of take over that role. I don't know. He's a big body, that rookie wide receiver, but I'm more willing to bet on the speed of Slayton to kind of hold it down there. And yeah, I think we'll have a good team after that. I was in between like Kamara, or a Tucker, but I think just a handcuff and Brian Robinson Jr., right? If if he gets some goal line stuff and it's not a true workhorse season for Bijan, like why not? I could see him falling his way into some touchdowns. We could have just been like, get Jaden Blue there, right? I mean, he's been skyrocketing up. I have a lot of Jaden Blue, especially in round 18 and 17, but mainly round 18, that it didn't even occur to me because that's usually where I draft them, not usually taking Jaden Blue ahead of that. But overall, I kind of like our team. A little bit more interesting of a structure here, just because we want to really ensure that we get good running back points, someone that could fill out that running back two role, because we feel very confident in our wide receivers. These four guys right here, we love. We feel very confident that they'll hold it down for us, and hopefully they continue to do it. Evan Ingram, that was closer than I would like to admit. God, this is so hard because I want to get Franklin, but we'll go ahead and just get Darius Slayton. And then that just builds on our Giants stack, right? Our Giants and Dallas stack. So we got Evan Ingram as our third tight end. I don't think I'm going to do very many drafts without a third tight end this year or at all. I've learned that three tight ends is pretty necessary. Now, with respect to like our running backs, because we have six running backs, right? Could we have done, another wide receiver instead of Robinson or Sampson? Sure, but I don't know. It's all very flat for me, right? Like I don't know how much more I get out of, another wide receiver over them, because the wide receivers in that area, I'm gonna kind of come back to who was available, are Zachariah Branch, Dontavian Wicks, Cooper Kupp. Those are guys that I like, you know. Um, Branch is the guy who I usually like to take a lot of. I feel like he could be the wide receiver two for Atlanta. But it's like, how much more value is he getting me? I don't know. I feel like we just need a little bit more help at running back, especially since we went three wide receivers, or actually, we went four wide receivers in the first six rounds. So we made a very heavy wide receiver bet. And so I wanted to just make sure we kind of shored up our running back room, kind of held it down at every position. I could have went like a Kalen Black. I love Kalen Black. Kalen Black bet is probably one of my more favorite bets to make. This guy made that bet. I think Kalen Black is running back too. And I think actually controversial take, I think he probably takes over the San Francisco backfield by like week 12, week 13. I think Jaden Blue gets used more by week 10, week 12, right? So I think these two guys are primed to be, league winners, but we already have so much of them, right? Um, and that I'm just trying to diversify right now. I'm not really super interested in constantly making those bets. because I have so many of them, right? Because one of my highest, just wanted to make sure. I already have a lot of Kalen Black. Actually, I should have more. There we go. 40% Kalen Black, right? I already have more than I need of Kalen Black. I don't need more Kalen Black. Um, Jaden Blue, right? 22% Jaden Blue, right? A lot of these were round 18 Jaden Blue. So if he's going to go 16, 17, it is what it is. We got Judkins, we have Tootin, we have Sharps, we have a lot of Coleman, right? We don't have a lot of J.K. Dobbins. I think that was maybe like my first or second team with J.K. Dobbins. My fourth team with J.K. Dobbins. So we don't have a lot of J.K. Dobbins. So get more J.K. Dobbins. I want more Henry, right? Who am I low on here that I want more of? Maybe some more Swift, maybe some more Warren, some more Kyron, some more Corum. I want to make more bets on this backfield. Some more Barkley, some more Walker, some more Jacobs, some more Gibbs, but you only get them in the beginning. Some more McCaffrey, Henry. I'm maybe a little bit more Gene T. I want to be at market with Gene T, not above, not below, but just at market. So about 8% Gene T, which we're basically there. We just need I do like to be a little bit overweight JT. I think he can still be a league winner. Cook, I like being overweight on. Javante overweight. Brooks, we got so much Brooks when he was in the 130s that we rarely get him now at 100s because we're usually getting our quarterbacks there. So I think once we're done drafting, we'll probably be at market with Brooks, right? Those will probably flatten out to about 10 to 8%. But because we've already have so much of him and the 130s, we'll just have closing line value on him. I don't want to keep grabbing him because we already have such good CV on him. Chase Brown, I just can't stop clicking. So Franklin, we stopped taking a lot of Neighbors. We've already made a huge bet on, so we're actually soft fading Neighbors. A lot of times when I see Neighbors, I'm actually not picking him. I'm picking more of the T Higgins, more of the other guys there. Parker Washington, I have to click him almost every time, just because the wide receivers that go around him are just to me unclickable. Except I do want to start taking more Carnell Tate, so he's probably the only one that I will be switching out my bags for. Waddle, I think, is super mispriced. Flowers, we got a lot of, especially. We kind of set the trend of pulling him up where we have been, so probably not getting a lot of closing line value on him. But we have drafted him towards the end of round 3 a lot when we were getting him. Tucker, I think, is a value. Godwin, Pearsall, all these guys. Downs, we're getting in like the 120s. Golden, we're getting a ton of. We're getting a lot of these guys, obviously, when they were great values. But now we want to start focusing on evening out our exposures while also still getting values. So we'll start getting more Nico Collins. We'll start getting more DK Metcalfs. We'll start looking at getting more of probably not Pierce. I'm probably out on Pierce at cost. Maybe a little bit more Mbuka's, right? I think Mbuka is just a little too rich for me where he goes. Olave, I can see it, so I'll get more of him. Tedder McMillan, I'll probably try to be at 8% with these guys exactly, but I'm not going to be overweight or underweight. Drake London, same. I'll probably be at where the market is. I probably won't be over or under. Lad, I have been drafting more of, but not as much. These are all late round guys. I do want more Puka. I do want more Lamb. I do want more Amon Ra. I'm only at 11. I want to be at like 18, 20. I do want more Rome. I think he's, in my mind, just probably going to be the wide receiver 1 there for the Bears, as controversial as that sounds. I want more Christian Watson. I want to be at 20 or at least at 18, just 18, 16, right? I love the fact that I have 15% Jamar Chase. Love that. Can't get enough. And then this is just really easy for me. All this is fairly flat. I'm not a big fan of a lot of these guys. I probably won't be drafting a lot of these guys anyway. These are probably guys that I'm more or less fading, not because they can't win leagues, but just at value right now. likely Ingram and Gadsden for me are like clear, far and away the best choices where they go. That doesn't mean that they're going to be the best overall. I think Tyler Warren, Tucker Craft, these top guys are up there for a reason. And Laporta, I could see being up there, but the Bowers of the world, the McBrides of the world, these guys are up there for a reason, and that's because they're league winners, right? But it's just so much draft capital to get them where they go that for me, it's almost not worth it. I've been dabbling in some eliminators. Um, Bijan Lamar Bowers, Hurts, Bijan Bowers. We got two Bijan teams. Um, we're not stacking an eliminator. I mean, we're not going out of our way at all. We're more focused on when we draft eliminators. And this is my first year that I'm going to try to max the eliminator. Last year, I think I had one eliminator team ever. I didn't really do it last year. Um, we're not focused on stacking in the eliminator. We will get skinny stacks if anything, but what we're really focused on is just rainbow buys and the best player available. The best player available, right? If I can get the best player available at that spot, I'm gonna get him. So rainbow buys, best player available. Um, I'm not necessarily, again, I'm not worried at all about stacking in the eliminator because it's a 1v1. I think stacking might also hurt you in the eliminator more than it helps you. And the reason being is because if you have a lot of like Baltimore and Baltimore get shut out, or you have a lot of Bengals and Bengals get shut out, you're really screwing yourself. Maybe skinny stacks, right? One quarterback, one wide receiver, one quarterback, one running back, something like that. But I'm not interested necessarily in stacking. And I think, and this is not to call out any people, but there are some people who don't want to stream their eliminators, and I think it's because they know that that is the edge that they have. I could be completely wrong, but I think the edge is you don't necessarily want to stack in the eliminator, and I think that's why a lot of people won't stream them that are more predominant on the best ball space, and a lot of that is because it's kind of interesting, right? Like you have your people asking you, "You're going to stream this?" and they're like, "No." Um, it makes you wonder, well, what edge are they trying to keep, right? Because if they're not going to do that, it's because they believe they have found an edge that they want to keep for themselves so that way they can win, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? If you believe that you have an edge and you want to exploit that edge and you want to have this kind of trophy under your belt to kind of raise you up to be, give you more credibility in the best ball sphere, that's perfectly fine, right? There's no issues with that. But that makes me question, right? That makes me, whenever I see streamers or content creators, especially predominant ones, do that, it makes me think, like, is it because they do have an edge, right? Whatever it may be, that they don't want to give away. And most likely it is, and that's fine. But I had to think, well, why, right? If it has to be because the drafting is so much different. The format's different because if you're doing the same thing in almost every format where you're trying to do stacks and correlation and things like that, then it doesn't matter because everybody knows that that's the strategy. So you're gonna, stream and you're gonna show everybody that that's a strategy. But with the eliminator, what I learned is it's probably not smart to stack. Maybe skinny stacks, right? But not stacking overall. I played in a couple home leagues and I took the everything I learned from the best ball sphere. I still did well. I think I went to the quarterfinals, semifinals rather. I didn't go to the finals. I went to semifinals. I lost to the champion. And I had stacks. And I realized when I was doing my drafts, this guy was winning without any stacks. A lot of these guys were winning without stacking. And I'm like, wait, duh. The reason why you stack, and I learned this playing baseball. So let me see if I can show you guys an example of this. Um, Drafts, lobby, completed, back. Sorry, guys. I'm not used to being on the computer when it comes to drafting and stuff. I'm so used to being on my phone. But take baseball, for example, right? It's like one versus everybody. It's like the weekly winner, right? And so in baseball, what I learned when I was doing baseball drafts is you basically want to bet on a single team. Here, I bet on the Athletics, right? And I bet that the Athletics were going to absolutely dominate the Pirates. And when one person does well, because one gets on base, the other one hits the double, and they kind of all help each other. They bring all each other up. So as the team does well, your team does really well, right? And so you're basically making a consensus bet there. This is smart because it gives you an edge against the everybody else. And you look at the guy who won, right? And he did the same thing: Cincinnati, 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 Texas, Texas, right? And you're drafting these guys where I've seen you know, and I'm going to use an example. Like I've seen people avoid getting like Aaron Judge or you know an Otani or these high profile baseball players that score a lot of points. They avoid them because they've already committed to a team stack, right? So if this guy, for example, already committed to Detroit, right? Let's just say there was Mike Trout available, right? And he's well past ADP. They won't pick Mike Trout because they're probably going to continue to get their bag of Detroit, right? And if you look at it, percent drafted 6.6, 1.8, 14.5, right? They're most people that are winning these competitions, they're stacking crazy. But that's because they're going against what? They're going against 1,900 other people. So you need a stack, right? You need a stack to kind of raise up, right? And that's why when we play best ball and we do the best ball mania and we're doing all these other games, it's important to stack because you have you're going against here you're going against 667 people at the final. So you want to benefit from the quarterback and the running back and the wide receiver and the tight end because, hey, this quarterback might pop off with the running back, or the quarterback might pop off with the tight end, or the quarterback might pop off with the wide receiver. So you're trying to stack them and they might all do well. They all might have a really good game, but you want to have multiple of that team because if one person only has the quarterback and they don't have the receiver neither, and that receiver is popping off, well, guess what? You're going to get the really benefit of it. Or let's say you only have the receiver and you don't have the quarterback, well, then you're going to lose because the guy who had the stack is going to have more points, right? Because they correlate with each other. So I think when we approach these different contests, we have to think a little bit more differently. For example, when it comes to my weekly winners, I only have done one, but I did a Chargers bet, right? I got the Chargers guys, right? I got Herbert, I got Keaton Mitchell, I got Ladd, right? I got Brennan Thompson, and then I got Terrence Ferguson and Njoku, right? I got these guys, and then I got Likely, Slayton, Neighbors, and Dart, right? I've seen some people, and I thought it was really smart for the weekly winners because it's just how they do that week, right? But you're playing against what? 186,000 other people. So, odds of you actually, coming out are going to be tough. But I've seen people just do like one quarterback teams and just load it up with running backs. They'll just get a Josh Allen and then they'll load up at running back, wide receiver, and then they'll get one really good tight end, right? So like they can go like Allen Bowers and then just load up wide receivers, running backs, and all they need is Allen Bowers to have the same correlated knockoff week, which is quite possible, very high rated individuals. And then you have all the wide receivers and running backs that you're just taking darts at that, hey, these guys might be the guy, right? So just drafting differently, changing our perspective on how we draft and why we draft and the different things that we do. Here I had balance because I did go more of a correlated bet, and then when I thought about it a little bit longer, I was like, why am I doing that? Nix, Harvey, Waddle, Evan Ingram, right? It might be fine. Kyler Murray stacked with actually I think I took Kyler completely unstacked. But I think it's fine, but at the same time, just something to consider. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I an idiot? Am I doing too many conspiracy theories? Or am I onto something? Do you guys also think that stacking the eliminator is not necessarily necessary and just take the best player, right? Because that's what I did. I've been taking Bowers, right? I think he's the best player at tight end. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like this video if you guys liked it. Let me know what you guys think. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.